Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Lyman. I'm president of Great Lakes Graphics Association, and I have a very exciting product to show you. Not too long ago, GLGA came into an agreement with industry experts to be able to license over more than 50 different videos. Very engaging, very immersive. And we believe it's going to be a fantastic opportunity, not only for members and their staff, but also for students, especially at the high school level. Before we get started, I just want to go over some housekeeping items. We mute everybody that we're able to mute to avoid any unnecessary background noise. And questions can always be asked at the end of the webinar, or if you'd like, you can use the chat feature on the right-hand frame of the software. If you have a problem with audio, you can always use the phone as a connection. This is the best way to get a good audio connection. And then finally, the webinar is going to be recorded, and I will provide it to you shortly thereafter the event. So without further words, I'd like to go ahead and get started. I am going to share my screen. And at this point, you should be able to see the GLGA screen. I'm going to do one other thing, if you'll bear with me. I'm just going to go over here, make sure I track the chat feature. But first, I'd like to go over the process of being able to log in to the website itself. This information is being hidden on the back end of our website. You do have to have an individual login. When we do have logins, they have to be from a company domain. We avoid all Gmail or Hotmail accounts just simply because of security. A lot of the products that we offer are member-only products, and we want to make sure that we provide a return on investment for our members. So first thing you would do is to be able to click on Member Login Register, and I'll go through the process. If you do not have a login feature, if you don't have a login username and password, the first thing you would do is go to login. You click on this bottom link, which is not registered for GLGA's website yet. Register now. It'll bring up a new screen. It'll provide you with the opportunity to put your name, your first, last name, company information, your user email, and then you come up with a password. Please, promotional code does not apply. That's going to be used for students here in the future. If you do have a GLGA website registration username and password, but you forgot your password, you can always click on Lost Your Password. You put in your username or email address. We'll send you a token, and from that token, you can actually create a new password and use or update your password to be able to log in the system. For those that do have a login to GLGA's, bear with me 1 second, I just have to mute someone. I apologize. Just muting everybody that I can. If you do have a username and login, you would go here and you would put your username or your email address and then your password. You would click Login, and that'll take you back to a portal. This is your admin backend portal for yourself. There's two ways to get to the Academy. The easiest is to go up here to GLGA Academy. So when you first come to the GLGA Academy, of course, everything's on the back end is it's locked down unless you have that username and password. But once you come to this particular page, the best place to start is your dashboard. Now I'm just going to click on dashboard. Your dashboard will come up with a number of different areas. One would be your courses. Courses would be a hierarchy, high level. Underneath each course is different lessons. So in some cases, you might have one course with one lesson underneath it. Others, you might have one course that has 12 or 13 different lessons under it. Each lesson is anywhere between 5 and 31 minutes long, I believe is the longest one. Needless to say, this is the easiest way to get to your courses. So I'm going to introduce you to the first couple of courses. This is the Introduction to Production Printing, gives you a detail of what it is. There's two ways to start. You can either click the start button, or you can click on the different module settings. Each individual lesson has a video to it. It'll explain right down here what the video is about. Once you're done, there's 2 tracks to be able to participate in the GLGA Academy. One is maybe you're just wanting to see 1 or 2 or 5 videos. You're not interested in a course completion certificate. You would just go through and pick the ones that you wanted based on that first screen. You can pick maybe your flexograph. You're not really interested in inkjet or rotogravure or what have you. You can just pick out the individual sessions that you want to watch. However, there's another feature, which is, let's say you want to go through the course completion and be able to achieve a certificate of completion. Once you watch the video, there's quizzes on the back end. And I'm going to show you a little bit about the quizzes for the sake of showing you exactly what's going to be on the quiz. I just want to get you familiar with what it's about. Each individual quiz, it takes a 70% questions answered correctly to successfully fulfill the achievement. So I'm going to start the quiz, and I'm going to purposely answer some of these wrong so you can see exactly some of the result features of this. So I'll start to answer. I'm just going to do these. I'm going to do a few true and true, a couple true, a couple false. I have to go through the whole thing. Again, each quiz has anywhere between 10. Most of them have 10 questions. Some do have 15. They're a little bit more immersive for the benefit of understanding a little bit more of what that particular course or lesson is trying to teach. And I'll go to 10 to 10. Once this is done, a little thing on the side will say I failed a quiz. I did not get an achievement. So once I finish the quiz, actually I can double click or just click on the particular question I got wrong, and then it will have a clarification. This is a result clarification. It will tell me my selected answer was false, but it was supposed to be true. And then it will tell me the development paper and ink both occurred around 3000 BC. So in this case, I got a 40%. I failed the course. I'm going to go back and I'm going to try again. So it gives me the opportunity again to be able to take the quiz again until I successfully complete. If you'll bear with me, I'm just muting some individuals. I'm going to start the quiz again. I'm going to take it again. And this time I'm going to go through and make sure that I pass. Here's the last question. And in this case, I passed the test. I got 100 on the quiz, and then it gives me this achievement, and it says you completed the lesson, a lesson. In this case, it is the lesson on a brief history of printing quiz. So now I've received an achievement, and I'm going to go back over to my dashboard, and I'm going to see, in this case, I'm going to see an achievement down here. Each individual achievement it will provide a badge for you. So again, it's very structured and automated. Nothing on the back end really needs to be done, except for if you have a problem, you can always contact GLGA, but most of it's automated. Once you provide an achievement, you'd go back over and start to take other courses. So again, you would have a completed course on the brief history of print. And again, it would just take you to this. Let's just go through and let's just say I've completed that. I've received my badge. I'm not interested in necessarily going to see my badge over on the dashboard. I just want to take the next lesson. You just click on the next lesson down here on the bar, and it'll take you to the next one. You take the quiz. Once you complete, you take the next lesson. And it'll go through that all the way until you get to the very end. Let's just do all of them. And then once you go through, cycle through all of them. So once I click on that, once I get to the very last one, it'll take me back to this splash screen. Then I would go back to my dashboard and continue to move forward with other courses. Again, to view your completed courses, you would go over here to view all my courses, and then you would have, sorry, I apologize, your achievements. I clicked on the wrong button, I apologize. But you would see your achievements, and as you continue to successfully complete courses, you'll continue to achieve these badges. Now, to achieve all of the different courses, you would have to go through all 9 modules, finish the lessons, get a 70% completion on the quizzes itself, and then we would, GLGA would provide that individual with a certificate of completion. So there's a couple of exciting things that can be achieved by this. One is you can incentivize your individual staff to be able to go through this. Once they achieve a successful completion, you can incentivize them with a dollar amount, or maybe it's a gift or whatever it is, for them to be able to continue their professional development in print. Again, we could print it out. We could send you that particular certificate. You could print it out yourself, whatever you'd like. But I strongly believe it continues to allow people to build on their professional development. If I could, I'm going to answer a question real quick. Okay. A question was, could I play some of the video on one of the processes? So I'm going to go back here and just do offset lithography. Please forgive me. Depending on what my speed is on my side and what speed is on your side in terms of bandwidth, it may or may not do very well, but I'm going to try. If those that are have a username and login would like to go over and follow along, please do. But I'm going to click on this offset lithography. And this is on the process of offset, sheet fed offset, or heat set offset.
Hello, and welcome to the Print University. Brian McAfee with Pixel Dot Consulting, and I have Pat McGrew from the booth with us too. Hey, Pat.
Hey, Brian. We have a really cool topic, don't we?
We have one that's let the old man in the room, so to speak. Offset lithography. It's a production printing method that's been around for a long time and is still today considered the workhorse of the industry, really.
That makes a lot of sense when you think about it. If you look back in the changes in the printing industry, we migrated from really letterpress into offset lithography within our lifetime, which is interesting. More of my lifetime than yours, but it's been interesting to watch these sea changes happen in the printing industry, and they just seem to keep happening faster. One of the things that made offset lithography possible was precision engineering and precision mechanics. It's possible to create a device that would reliably print over and over again in a way that you could register the colors and create a final ending.
So again, I believe the videos are extremely engaging. I believe the banter between Pat and Ryan is extremely easy to listen to. There's lots of features on the particular playback module that allow you to go full screen. Let's say you want to go full screen, you can go full screen. I'd click escape to go back. But it is extremely engaging. I believe it's something that will continue to keep someone engaged in the progress of the video and really be able to learn something valuable. I do have a question from David. Does each employee need to get a separate login for their courses? Right now, only managers have access to the site. Unfortunately, David, yes, simply because this is a learning management system. You'll never, or the people taking the quizzes will never know really how to keep track of their dashboard. If a number of people are doing this, they don't really know who answered what quiz and when they answered it. And so it's a little bit, it's really difficult to be able to do with just one username and password. So we like multiple sign-on usernames and passwords simply because it is a learning management system. Is there a way to take content you've put together and put it into our own LMS? Unfortunately, no. We did not develop it. We're licensing this particular product, and but we are offering it to all members for free. So they have access to it. Your employees have access to it, and we freely want to make this available to all of our members and their staff. So on the back side, there's some interesting, per company, any number of logins allowed per company. Yes, Roger, we will allow as many logins as you'd like. Again, there's other things, but I want to go back and address David's question. There's other things on our website that are valuable to your staff. And that's the other thing is we want our members to get an immersive ROI or return on investment for their participation in GLGA. When I talked about that splash screen, if I go back over here, I'm just going to do GLGA's splash screen. GLGA.info. Yep. When I first logged on, there's obviously the GLGA Academy, but we have a members only area. And then again, this is locked down for members only. And once it comes up, there's member questions. Obviously, there's GLGA print training, communications, HR information. We have an extensive list of different types of services and benefits that really help for the professionalism of your staff. I understand that you have some guidelines on how individuals utilize internet systems and even emails, but you can put some wild cards so that they can only visit our site. For instance, if you're training someone, by the way, state law, almost every single state law has that trainee has to be provided as a paid hourly rate, or if their salary, obviously that's something different that has to be approved by their direct supervisor. But you can put wild cards in so that they can only visit certain websites. So you can do that in a browser, and it can be one standard computer. Sharon Flick, who's on the call now, does this on a regular basis for another program that we have. And she'd be more than happy to help you. Of course, give her a little bit of a breather. We're in the midst of doing our golf outings. So we are hot and heavy with our golf outings. However, we do want to make sure everybody has as much information as possible. In fact, I think Sharon probably has a document she can share with the group if you want to set up a wild card. So there's other areas of our website. We believe strongly that if you're not providing professional development to your staff, and more so if we're not, as an association, providing professional development to those that are in the industry, people start to look at other opportunities. One of the interesting things that I learned not too long ago is, you used to have probably 4 years to be able to develop let's just say, a particular operator on a system or process. In this case, sheet fed, cut sheet, offset printing. And the unfortunate part is you don't have 4 years to be able to train that individual. If you're not training them to be able to come up to speed and really get on that piece of equipment within 6 months, you can guarantee somebody's going to get a little antsy in the future. So what we're trying to do is provide as much professional development as possible so that people can continue embracing their job and stay with it long term. And it gives not only the employee, but the employer the chance to be able to retain that individual. And retention of talent right now is probably the #1 issue in our industry. It's either workforce development, how to find, recruit, onboard individuals, or retention of talent within the company. So I'm going to go back over to the Academy. That's enough about GLGA services and benefits, but we want you all to be able to use it. On the back end, it's really robust for us. I think, what was it? Roger and David kind of, and as well as Brian, asked the question about the hosted part of it. On our side, you really need to have a single user login to be able to follow along. And I was talking about that reporting. Each individual student has a record. And in this case, I'll just do mine. Let's see, come up. Yep. So in this case, my progress is 1.14% overall for all the different courses that are available. If I go over to my courses that I have been able to achieve, I've only, for introduction of production printing, I have only achieved 8.33% in terms of overall achievement. My grade was 100%, but I've only had an 8.33% progress overall in that one course. So this tracks individuals on a very specific level. And again, what we're trying to do is to build a learning management system that can encompass all the learning that would take place. Let's see, we have a new one. Do most companies use this as true training, or has it been used and onboarding new employees, for example? A little bit of both. I would say that it's basic to intermediary lessons. We will get more into very specific complex training here in the future, immersive training online. We're going to utilize a couple of different technologies. I don't want to get too far into that because that's something that we're just in the development stages of. So I don't want to go too far into it, but I would say this is a great onboarding tool. We have had several individuals. Obviously, we rolled this out very quietly. We had some focus group individuals take the courses and go through it. And each one of them have said, boy, oh boy, I learned so much from this particular session. Not only was it easy to understand and engage, it kept me entertained enough to be able to go through the whole system and really learn. Some of them went back through and they personally told us that they went back and watched the video 2 or 3 times simply because there's a lot of things to learn in the print industry, right? And so they utilized it as an onboarding tool, but we've also had other individuals take the courses, and you learn a little bit something new every single day you do it. So I would say it's a little bit of both. So it says, are there future plans to develop a more technical program as a phase 2 in the future? Yes, John, and I should say John Leclue from Multicolor Labels. And I sit on a particular group that is now addressing more of an immersive technology for being able to train individuals. I don't want to go too far into it because it's really in the development stages. But let's say that each individual GLG member that participates in the academy will be able to do training in their own individual facility. And it's more complex, it's more immersive, it is point of view, and I believe it's going to be something that's revolutionary in terms of being able to put people in situations that you would never be able to replicate. Maybe there's too much calcium buildup on a job, or maybe you're getting hickeys or something like that. It's just something that you can't replicate in the real world. However, you could in immersive technology training. So from this point forward, I'd like to go back to the site. So there's other offerings that we provide. By the way, these courses are not set to be the only courses we're going to be providing. Obviously, we have a licensing agreement with Ryan and Pat, who are industry experts, and they do maybe a course once every 2 months or so, and we develop a quiz around it to be able to provide to our members. So they'll roll out probably about 6 courses over the course of a year. However, we're baking in more training that is, again, online and be able to provide it to our members. Some of those courses are going to be basic again. Some are going to be more intermediate, and advanced. And those are going to be more video, not immersive, not point of view technology. However, they will be a video based, so you can do it almost anywhere that you have an internet connection and a computer and a screen, so laptop, wherever you're located. But we have other offerings. So I wanted to go through and explain another organization. Now, this is not part of GLGA or the Education Foundation. Now, we have two organizations that are closely linked. There's the Great Lakes Graphics Association. Then there's the Great Lakes Graphics Association Education Foundation. That is who owns and is providing, the Education Foundation who owns and is providing this education to the industry. We have a third organization that we manage, again, not connected to GLGA or the Education Foundation. It's called National Council for Skills Standards in Graphic Communications. It was developed and created in 1996, joint venture between Printing Industries of America and the National Council for Skills Standards. Over the years, we have developed quite a few products, mainly on the back end of the business model. So that would be, for instance, I'll go through, there's a practice test, adhesive binding practice test, a stitching practice test, a flexographic, a sheet fed, and a web offset practice test. These are 10, I believe they're 10 questions. If I'm not mistaken, I'll just click on this. We encourage you go over and look at the practice tests, and it is 15 questions. 15 questions, and it will help you understand what is involved in doing an operator skill assessment. An operator skill assessment is to really assess what's the weaknesses and strengths of a particular operator. That's on the production side. You can be able to tell, for instance, we break it down just in offset. We break it down into 4 different groups. That would be general printing, troubleshooting, inks and fountain solutions, and then safety. And from that, each individual module of those 4 has anywhere between 5 and sometimes 20 questions, depending. It's a total of 50 questions, and we're able to actually put that individual in quartiles. What the very exciting part is, once we get the immersive technology training coupled together with the skill assessments, all of a sudden you get a great tool to be able to benchmark your employees. I will say this is that individual training provides, just in terms of good individual training, increases productivity by 29%. That's proven by a number of different organizations that are doing this on a regular basis. So I really strongly believe that productivity right now is an important part of being able to be profitable. Obviously, the only way to fight through the idea of being more profitable is obviously productivity, stamping out redundancies, being able to be more efficient on the back end. I do have a couple of questions I want to answer. Rand, just a heads up for my login, the only practice test that works is stitching test. I'll fix that. Rand, thank you so much for bringing that up. We always love people focusing on and being our focus group for being able to work through these testers, in other words, to provide us feedback. We want this to be as valuable as possible. So Brand, I will definitely make sure that is provided as a member benefit on the practice test. Again, though, in terms of the immersive technology coupled together with these tests, and the tests were developed and are developed. The last time we updated was a few years ago, but these are from industry experts across the United States. They take a lot of time and effort to be able to review and make sure they're updated. We do not have a test for digital or practice test or skill assessment, simply because there's so many different processes, or I should say even updates on digital technology, that it's hard to keep up. And we could get together and develop something, go over the tests. We used to have something called a DICE test, which is the digital. test. But the unfortunate part is once we went through the 6 months of developing it, by the time we rolled it out, something new had happened. And so we know that it's probably best left to the individual companies to be able to train you on digital. However, on the analog systems, there's just a mountain of things that can be done to be able to provide immersive training on those. And they're not going away. We know that the need for sheet fed and web offset, gravure, flexographic process, all of them is immense, and it continues to grow. It's just that the products that we use those process for continue to evolve. And we've seen no slowdown of the number of products, the diversity of products that are being created by the printing process. So especially on the digital side, I mean, digital is just the great equalizer of the industry. And again, we're going to continue to see this evolve as we move forward. Dawn had asked a question about multilingual team. We have the transcripts of the videos. Now, we have to work together with the licensees because it's their videos and they've given us a whitelist for glga.info. However, we have the transcripts and we can do Google Transcribe to be able to provide it in, let's just say, Spanish. You said offered in Spanish, yes. What we're going to do is to work together with the licensors of the content to be able to offer this in a multiple number of languages. In fact, this question was asked the other day about Polish from someone in the greater Chicagoland area. So we're able to do a whole lot. It won't be 100%. I can't do it in Mandarin or some of the other languages, but certainly with the advent of Google Translator, being able to plug in that language and be able to translate it into others is huge. And so what we're trying to do is to have it in multiple languages so that potentially you could pick which language you'd like to have it in, or for instance, it could be as a scrolling closed caption at the bottom of the video, or maybe it's a scrolling transcribed communication module below that it's, again, closed caption, so it's not on the video itself. But Dawn, rest assured that we are very interested in improving the videos so that it provides more languages for different individuals. Okay, excellent. So I've talked about how GLGA can offer this to our members and obviously their employees, but I believe there's a component to this that's extremely valuable. And that is, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, there's a couple of different initiatives that we're very interested in and providing this content to, but specifically to high school. One of the problems that high schools have with print right now, there's two reasons why print programs end up, for lack of a better word, being canceled. I can say that in 2001, there was 120 print programs. I know this very well because I sit on the board for the youth apprenticeship program within the state of Wisconsin. By the way, the DWD, the Department of Workforce Development, has a youth apprenticeship program on print. By the way, print was their very first curriculum that was approved. And I think to date, we've had like 1,300 youth apprentices in print go through the course and successfully complete it. So lots of opportunity, but in 2001, there was more than 120 print programs. Unfortunately, as of just this year, we're down to like 2. There's 2 reasons why. One is the individual that was the instructor decides to retire. So we have a generational issue. Once they retire, it's very difficult to be able to replace that individual. The other is that the equipment, the materials, the consumables, all the things that go around involving training individuals in print, it's expensive. and a lot of individual school systems, for a lack of a better reason, have been concentrating on academic achievement. For instance, going to college, encouraging individuals to go to college. And that double whammy really has hurt us in a big way. However, when I talk to tech ed teachers, yearbook staff advisors, and the instructors for graphic design, all three have said the same thing: is we're lacking content. Whatever you can do to provide us with more content, we'll definitely incorporate it into our teachings. And in fact, in this case, it would be a promotional code that we would give an individual student, but this student can do self-taught. It's very easy. The learning management systems set up simply for the ability to be able to provide the self-taught. But in addition to that, some of the immersive technology, the point of view technology that we're talking about implementing, would actually be able to put that course in the high school and be able to train that individual without being in a physical location. And one of the biggest issues that we have, not only, getting students from one place to another, or maybe it's providing enough equipment for them to be trained on, but I think the biggest hurdle we have is a lot of our insurance companies will not allow an individual under the age of 18 to be able to be trained on a piece of equipment in a facility. You just, moving cylinders just doesn't jive with a lot of insurance companies. So a lot of you are not interested in hiring somebody or interning someone where they potentially could get hurt. And this emerging immersive technology really overcomes that. We can put them in high-risk areas or training that you'd never be able to do in real life. However, there is no safety risk to them. And so I'm extremely excited about the opportunity to do immersive technology. And in this case, we're talking about virtual reality with headsets. But we're able to do these things that we'd never be able to do in real life, and get them up to speed on what needs to happen. And it does shorten that gap. I talked about the 4-year gap, shortening down to 6 months. This is a great way for you as well as the local community, the high schools, to be able to give them immersive content that they can learn print, they can learn back-end finishing or bindery or what have you. They can learn packaging, they can learn tag and label manufacturing or converting. They can learn all those processes before they even land in a particular company where they're going to be onboarded. And so we're extremely excited about the opportunity to be able to develop this. Again, baby steps. We want this to be a success. So what we're asking our members to do is help us. We cannot be everywhere at all times, and nor are we paying taxes in a particular locality. We are the individuals that kind of give you the resources to be able to help individual teachers. I believe strongly that you going out and encouraging those high schools to sign up for these courses is huge. And again, we give you a promotion code. You're in the community, you pay taxes. You're probably in a constant conversation with the tech ed teachers, trying to get them to understand who's going to graduate, who's interested in working with their hands. We'd like your help. So anything you can do to help us would be a huge plus, not only to you, but the industry. And we're only allowing this for GLGA members. How are we able to give an ROI to our members? Well, one of the ways that we're do that is to, once we get somebody to sign up for the courses, we have authorization to continually promote opportunities with the industry. And certainly we're going to make sure that we bring along our GLGA members, the individuals that support us, so that they get a benefit from it. It also helps you on the local level, because now you have a relationship with a tech ed teacher where you are giving them content that they need in terms of teaching their students. So I think there's lots of opportunities. So with that, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to participate today, but I wanted to open it up for questions. If you have a question, please put it in the chat feature. I'd be more than happy to answer that. Well, certainly, if you have any questions, Sharon Flick is going to be sending you the recording as well as a follow-up message. If you have any questions, if you're interested in how to improve or suggestions on how to improve the system, let us know. We want this to be a huge opportunity for our members, for the local communities, as well as the industry at large. So with that, I appreciate everybody's participation. I hope you have a great day. And again, thank you so much for participating.